What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch with a news roundup today. PlayOverwatch tweeted out their second Hero 32 Mina Liao teaser, leading us to a rather dismal conclusion to the project she spoke about in the previous one. Here, I'll play the clip and we'll break it down.
Everyone get back! Stay down! Stay down!
We can hear Dr. Liao say, everyone get back. Sort of an explosion, but more of an electronic one. It isn't a boom like a bomb, but more of a fizzle, even though we see the effects of an explosion on screen. We definitely hear glass breaking, and judging by what we already know about this character from the previous teaser, we know that Dr. Mina Liao is optimistic about AI naively. We can already tell that yesterday, because there is a serious AI Omnic threat, so if you push too hard to promote Omnic AIs being good for the world, you draw the risk of also bringing monsters upon us, because if you think about it, human consciousness works the same way, right? There's good guys, there's bad guys, and it looks like Liao's creation went haywire, escaped from the facility to go on and wreak havoc. So this narrows down our possibilities that either Echo had a dark section of her existence and was quite the evil character for a period before, like, the Terminator got rewired to be a good guy, but I doubt that's the case, actually. I think what's more likely, like I said yesterday, the evil Omnic from Storm Rising may have been Dr. Liao's first creation. A few reasons for me to think this. One, the visual storytelling of Overwatch is really important and somewhat obvious. The character turns are almost baked into their auras of how they're presented visually. For example, even in his Overwatch clothes, Gabriel Reyes looks like a shady customer, right? He looks like he's a little sinister. Whereas Echo is just so visually vibrant and bright, it would be out of character of Overwatch to start her off as an evil version. If they did, perhaps Echo would be red instead of blue, which connotates the violence from the Terminator-esque type robot AI. I doubt that. I also think Echo looks like a far superior technology to the Storm Rising robot, who looks a little bit more inherently sinister, but also lower tech. Echo's more of an advanced AI superbot, even amongst the world of AI Omnics, something that isn't the norm in the present day Overwatch timeline. Sort of the experimental next gen, if you will. So if I had to put my money on anything, I'm leaning a bit more towards the Storm Rising Omnic. I have seen some theories that perhaps in this exchange and blow up, there was a consciousness change, which would be going full Westworld in Overwatch lore, where Dr. Mina Liao transfers her consciousness to Echo. I think a lot of this sort of stuff is kind of jumping the shark for the scope of what Overwatch is attempting, but it's definitely on the table. Seems just a bit more complicated than the story would need it to be. So after another day of teasers, I'm not so sure who's the next hero is going to be. I will say the character design of Dr. Mina Liao looks pretty cool. And I think we do already have a support in the game who's very optimistic and a bit more of a pacifist in Mercy. So perhaps Dr. Mina Liao would be a Mercy analog, and whereas Mercy is sort of the reluctant soldier that fights to try to keep the peace as her driving principle, Dr. Mina Liao might be more of a AI consciousness sympathizer who feels compelled to do the same thing after, of course, this moment going so wrong for her, perhaps still believing in her principles, but knowing that it's going to take some work and fighting against the bad Omnics in order to bring peace to the world. I'm a little bit more convinced Dr. Mina Liao is Hero 32 based upon the leak saying that it was going to be a new support hero, because today's teaser makes it seem like the creation is more explosive and violent, which I don't think is likely to be in the support archetype. And whatever her creation is gone wrong, Null Sector Omnic or evil version of Echo or otherwise, I think it's safe to say that character would be unlikely to be a support. But who knows if that leak was true or not? We'll have to wait and find out. I'm assuming we may hear more this week. Otherwise in the news, Jeff Kaplan popped onto the forums yesterday to discuss work they've been putting into the matchmaking system for both queue times and backfilling, which is something that a lot of players really really dislike when you have to wait for a 7 to 10 minute queue just to come into the end of a game. Jeff Kaplan responds saying it's unfortunate, but it's best for matchmaking to sometimes substitute you into a match as a backfill. They're looking to make improvements, and there's an internal improvement that they've been working on that stops you from backfilling multiple times in a row, but if you switch game modes, it may still do so. He closes in saying, again, we want to make improvements to backfilling, but removing the system is unlikely to happen because it's so important to queue times in general. It would just increase queue times and also ruin the matches for teams that never get a backfiller in quick play. And of course, as Jeff has mentioned in various different ways, the 1-3-2 experiment, etc. They are looking on ways to improve the damage queue time. I'm sure all of you already know the system that I want. It's sort of a incentivized filling system where you maybe play a game or a few, filling an in-demand role to then get like a voucher or a faster queue for damage. Otherwise in the news, the Overwatch League made a update Watchpoint episode stating that the league is coming back this week. Online matches are getting played, and in fact, a ton of them are to catch them up with all the games they've missed. But since the games have to go online, 3 separate regions will be playing internally. This schedule creates some problems where especially the Chinese teams basically don't play anyone else, and there isn't that many of them. So their schedule and many others are going to be quite lopsided, but it's the best solution they can come to due to the virus outbreak. Games will be back this weekend online at regular time, but also next week. For example, the Chinese matches will be played early in the day for us Westerners, and then roll on with normal scheduled matches as well. So there'll be a VOD to watch when you wake up, and then new games already being live streamed. But possibly the biggest change is that they're going to be heavily changing the ban system, or how the Hero Pool out of rotation heroes will be selected, where it used to put the top picks above 10% pick rate into the lottery in equal proportion, no matter their pick rate, which has an element of random fairness to it, I guess. Now, effective immediately, they're changing the rules that if you cross certain pick rate thresholds, it will increase the chances you have to get selected for RNG bans. Remember, this doesn't matter for us ranked players anyway. Currently, we're on the Jeff's pick system, where Jeff is the almighty emperor and he picks which gets banned and changes the rules week to week. This past week, we lost 2 supports at once, which caused quite the uproar, and there has been pushes to emulate the owl bans, which makes me pretty nervous. But what owl will do is that heroes that have a 10 to 25% pick rate in the previous 2 weeks will get 1 ticket. 25 to 50 will be 2 tickets. The next 25%, 50 to 75 will be 3, and above 75 pick rate will get 4 tickets. Those will be for characters like Mei and Diva, at least in the weeks where they're dominant. Remember, of course, as well, I assume they haven't changed the rule where the same hero can't get banned 2 weeks in a row anyway, so that rotates this regardless of what gets picked. And as well, they're shifting map pools now. Oh boy, Paris is back. How wonderful. And there isn't time at the end of the video to discuss this here, but map pool is also a huge contributing factor to hero pick rates. In an ideal world, I'd like to see teams both be able to select their maps and their heroes based upon their strengths. I think that makes for a better esport, as we've seen at least one of those two would be nice, but something we're not getting for Overwatch 1, it seems like, but perhaps in Overwatch 2. Well, guys, that's everything for today's news roundup video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and hit the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. See you guys next time.